Good morning. This is day 6 of my Beethoven 250th challenge. I'm just turning that YouTube clip down of the marvelous Claudio Arau, who's playing today's piece, which, for a change, is a little more popular and a little more tuneful than some of the pieces I've been choosing. Put that one down, cover my stomach up. It's Beethoven's Waldstein Sonata, Opus 21, and it's what is one of his more popular piano sonatas. It comes from the middle period of Beethoven. Beethoven's music divides almost really cleanly into three periods. The early classical stuff, still very different but very influenced by Haydn and Mozart. His middle period, getting loud. Such an amazing tune, that. His middle period, where he went to a hugely sort of heroic and phase, and his musical language became really solid, and that's where the majority of his most popular masterpieces come from. The 5th, 6th, 7th Symphony, the 4th and 5th Piano Concerto, 3rd, 4th and 5th Piano Concerto, the famous piano sonatas, the Moonlight, the Appassionata, and this sonata now, which was I think I'm right in saying, one of the first piano sonatas that he wrote, which really sort of pushed the bounds of what a piano sonata is. I'm not gonna go back and edit that. It wasn't the first one to do it, but it was a huge advance in his previous piano sonatas, and incredibly technically difficult, like everything he writes, but also very accessible, not like some of the other pieces we've been listening to, and like yesterday's, which is of course amazing. This is a little bit of a respite from that, and proof that when Beethoven wanted to write a tune, no one wrote a tune like him. But he wasn't on the whole interested in crowd pleasing tunes. I mean, his symphonies are full of them, so he could write them, and especially the Beethoven, especially the Pastoral Symphony is a total tune fest. But his more interesting music, when you get really into him, the interest lies in the pieces where he was breaking the boundaries and saying something other than "this is a nice tune." But he manages to do both in this sonata. It's a fabulously compact, I think it's about 25 minutes long, masterpiece. And I'm actually going to recommend 2 movements from it. I mean, again, like the trio, you can listen to the whole thing. It's only 25 minutes and it's all amazing. I'm going to have to turn it down a little bit again. I hate doing that, but... So the 2 movements I'm going to recommend, the slow movement and the last movement, which are linked anyway. And the middle movement, the slow movement, has an interesting history in that he wrote a completely different movement, quite a tuneful piece, which is now has a separate opus number, and it's called the Andante Favori. So you can listen to that and see what his original intentions were. But he replaced it with something a lot stranger, and works brilliantly and takes the whole sonata onto a different level. So I think the last movement doesn't really make sense until you listen to the second movement. And what he composed in it instead is a sort of improvisation where he seems to be asking a question and searching. He's in his piano searching mode. And he keeps asking this question, and he doesn't get a reply. And he's like, should we go in that key? No. We'll go this key. No, he does that a lot. It's like he's searching, he's asking questions with the piano. And it sort of gets more and more frantic. and then he sort of finds the key, which is the right answer, which is again a very consoling chord, and then it's a lovely little spiritual moment just before this movement, the last movement starts, with its. I think it's quite a famous tune. It always the tune of the last movement always reminds me a bit of the Greg Lake song, the Christmas. They said there'd be snow this Christmas. They said there'd be peace on earth. Because the tune is dun 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 dun. I mean, it's not exactly the same. I don't know why. I'm probably the only person in the world that reminds of, but it does remind me of it a little bit. So there's not a huge amount else to say about this sonata. There's no big story behind it. There's no, no history of it. It was dedicated to Count Waldstein. Other than that, it's just an amazing piece of music, and one I think you'll enjoy. I don't have any qualifications about you thinking, oh God, I might appreciate this in about 5 years when I've listened to it 300 times. This is instantly appealing. And even the middle movement, which I said is a little strange, a little off the beaten track, it's all of a piece with the last movement. So I suggest you do listen to the middle movement. It's quite short. That leads into the wonderful transition into the last movement. And that transition, when the final movement comes in, is such an amazing moment. It's one of the greatest moments in Beethoven. It's so... I think I'm right in saying that the Italians have a nickname for this sonata. I might be wrong. And they call it the Dawn Sonata, because it does sound a little bit like the sun's coming through or something. I'm just going to turn it up a bit because it's wonderful. He sustains this tune, this is the last movement, right to the end, and it gets more and more exultant, more and more beautiful. And yeah, the one I'm recommending, better tell you that before I switch off, is Claudio Arrau again. It's because I'm watching YouTube clips, and there are a lot of YouTube clips of Claudio Arrau playing. If you're looking for a Spotify track or a track to download, there are so many great performances of it. Brendel, Barenboim, Ashkenazi, Paulini especially is a favourite of mine. But in terms of watching it on YouTube, I love watching Claudio Arrau, and Claudio Arrau's studio recording is wonderful too. So I would recommend that, and actually it's just coming to an end, so we can... One of those Beethoven coders, which... Oh, actually no, this isn't the end. Sounds like it's going to be the end, but it isn't quite. No, it goes off, so I'll leave you to listen to that. Okay, Beethoven's Waldstein Sonata, Opus 21. Enjoy that.